Welcome to the Her Voice Shines podcast, where we celebrate the power, brilliance, and resilience of women everywhere. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington. Join us as we share inspiring stories and insights from extraordinary women who have found their voice and are making a difference. Together, we'll create a ripple effect, illuminating the path to visibility and empowerment. Let's break barriers, shatter ceilings, and lift each other up. In each episode, we dive deep into the journeys of women who have turned their challenges into triumphs and their dreams into reality. Whether you're looking for motivation, guidance, or a community that understands your journey, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and remember, let your voice shine. Look, you already know where you landed. Where? The Her Voice Shines podcast. I'm your beautiful host, Renee Hope, streaming in the hot and steamy Houston, Texas. And let me tell you guys, I've been here all my life, but it seemed like every summer just hit a little bit different. But hey, I'm going to stand here and withstand it. But let me tell you something about my guest that's here today. I already feel the energy. I am so excited. I'm going to let her come to the stage and do the normal drill. She tells us her name, where she's streaming from, and we get the magic of that story without any further waiting time. Here's my very beautiful guest for today.
That's awesome. Hi there, everyone. And hi. How do we say your name? Shanadra? Shanadra.
Yes, ma'am.
My name, I am Renee Cooper. I am a speaker and a leadership communications and life-changing speech coach. And I am from the hotter and hottest land of South Florida, Fort Lauderdale area, to be exact. I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you know I'm honored. And you know, I already told you that energy is pure and beautiful. I want to know about this lady in front of us. Just give us a 3-minute rundown, Miss Renee. How did you even come into the space of being a dynamic leadership coach? How did it happen?
How did it happen? It happened with 20 years of adversity. That's how it happened. I'll be honest with you. I always knew when I was 16 years old, Oprah Winfrey was my mentor. She was a mother to me. She gave me the wisdom and guidance I did not get. And I knew right there at 16, I'm like, I want to do that. I want to help others. I want to inspire. I want to teach. And, you know, like many of us, we squash and we suppress our dreams and our natural gifts, just like Marianne Williamson said, right? It's not our fear it's not our fear, it's our inability to shine our brilliance. That's what we're most afraid of. Well, let me tell you, I buried it for years. When I was in my mid-20s, I knew that I needed to root for the underdog and use my voice. So I went into the corporate fundraising world. And that's where I spent 15 years of telling stories to executives, to garbage men at 4:30 in the morning, to blue-collar workers, to rising leaders. And I learned something fascinating, that as a speaker, I better adapt my message to each audience, or else I'm not making the goals that they want us to make. And in the fundraising world, if you don't hit your goals, they slap it on to next year. So you better be raising that money. And then throughout my time speaking, people would come to me and ask me for help. How do you sound authentic? How do you do this all the time and love it? I hate speaking, but I was too young and too insecure and not able to see that that was my gift. So I again suppressed it. And I always just worked for someone else. Well, like many of us, I kept being thrown into toxic job situations. I think it was the universe and God's way of saying, what are you doing? Like, why are you not using this gift? And I think those bad jobs were assigned to throw me against the wall, if you will, to say, now's your time, girl. So at 50, I said, this is it. The rubber's meeting the road. It's do or die for me. Either I pursue this gift and listen to my calling, or I'm going to have regrets if I go to my grave. I'll be quite transparent with you. So that's what I did a few years ago.
You know what, Miss Renee, what you said, people were already noticing your gift. They were asking you, how do you do it authentic? But you know what the boldest thing in that whole segment was? That inability to shine your own brilliance. Oh, Miss Renee, let me tell you something. I've been there and did that. I've been there and done that. And you know, I went through a period in my life where everybody else around me could see it. And I was just so busy doing the things of survival, Miss Renee, that I didn't even see it. That I didn't
Yeah.
even really come to the grips of really, really seeing it. And this whole thing really started to take shape around 2020. But even with that, I was wondering, like, how's this corporate girl with 13 years of nothing but financial services do something that's just so opposite? Do something that really
Wow.
means something. Do something that really ignites. And for me, it was
So
a
were
long.
people saying that they noticed something in you? Like, what was it for you that they were noticing, even as a financial services professional,
And
that you
that
didn't?
that was the shift. And I'll tell this story really quickly. I was right before pandemic. I was in this. I was a manager, a global manager. I was in this training with people, right? And this trainer, she kept looking at me really crazy. And I said, "Now, what's wrong with this lady? Do we have to step outside and get a little rough? What we got to do?" Because she kept looking at me, trying to figure out why. And she paired me with this gentleman who was a very hard manager. He was known to be that guy, right? And she paired me with him.
Mm,
And next thing I know, this guy was talking to me like me and you were talking. I just had no idea. I just was my normal self and did a conversation with him. And when we got ready to leave,
mm,
she stopped me and she said this. She said, "What are you doing here?" I told her, "My badge still works, so I have a job here. I guess I'm still employed. That's why I'm here." She said, "No." She said, "Do they know what they have here?" And it just kind of shifted my perspective. She said, "I intentionally paired you with him because I knew that you can get him to talk." She said,
wow.
"You radiate. This is before I had a business. This is before I had a vision for this. This is before I knew anything existed outside of that career." That lady stopped me on my way out and intentionally had a conversation with me, Miss Renee. And
That's
now
amazing.
I
Knew
look
that
back.
you
Go
did
ahead.
this to change something in him is what I'm hearing. That she knew. That's incredible. I'm so happy we connected.
You know, let me tell you, I told these people that I am finding my tribe on this podcast. I know it looks like, I know you see the branding, I know you see all this, but I find the women that I am divinely meant to connect with. And they see the
Isn't that
branding, Miss Renee. But at the end of the day, this is my work and my ministry. And that's what people
your
will
work?
get confused. Don't ever get it confused, okay? I know you guys see the branding, but this is Shanae's work that she's putting into earth, and I'm very, very proud of it. But let me ask you this, Miss Renee. There was something on your form that
Yeah.
stood out to me. I said, let me
Oh,
ask you
I
about this. I think it was a combination of things, a little bit of hurt, a little bit of like, most women need to talk about this thing because you said that you held a comment for 20 years, Miss Renee, about what somebody
that
said about your size. Mm-mm.
you
Not
broke up
okay.
a second. Sorry. You broke up. All I heard you say that you read that I did hold on to this for 20 years.
Yes,
That I heard.
you
Go ahead.
come to a comment about your size. That somebody said about your size for 20 years. That's a lot. And I'm gonna tell you
Yes.
something, it's not okay. That kind of broke my heart a little bit. Let me just
Yeah.
say that. Let me ask you this. What advice would you
Yeah.
give to someone who's holding words that wounded their spirit? What advice would you give someone?
It's what I didn't do when that executive said that to me. In that moment of greatness where he said to me, he waited in line to meet me. 6'2". I'm all but 5'2" in heels, girl. He waited to meet me, to shake my hand, to say how impressed he was with my talk, and in that moment also to say, for someone of your size. My wish for others is to be able to let it roll off, just like what happens when the rain comes down. Let it roll off. That's your moment to be able to stand in your passion. Like, I knew I loved speaking because I had that audience. I'm not saying it to boast, but I had them because I had their listening. I spoke to things that were important and resonated with them. And because of that, I knew I was in my brilliance. So, again, what I would say to others is, if someone, because the haters are always going to hate, doesn't matter, executive, not executive, a wannabe entrepreneur, it doesn't even matter who it is or what influence we think they have over us. But whoever is throwing that dart, you have to be able to dismiss it and honor your truth and honor what it is. Your purpose is bigger than your ego. And that's something that I wish that I learned within those 20 years. If I saw that my purpose if I just knew that it was going to have such great impact. But again, sometimes we don't know what we don't know. But if I at least could have trusted myself more to know I have impact, then the impact would have been greater than what anyone else says to me. I hope that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. And that ability to let those things roll off is really a game changer. Now, back a few years ago, I was a different person. I don't care what nobody says. I was a different person before 2020. Before that's when I had my real awakening, and even though the pandemic and everything, but I had an internal awakening, probably the biggest one I had in my adult years in 2020. If indeed that type of comment would have been said to me prior to 2020, I would have probably internalized a little bit. But now, in this big old brave age of 2025, Miss Renee, people know not to even try it. People know not to even try it because they know that I have enough mental fortitude and appreciation for myself that it's nothing that you can tell me that cannot write it.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that, because I don't want to jinx anything, but since I've been in the space the last couple of years, I think because my inner strength has been able to I've been able to relay that message out. I don't
Mm-hmm.
get I don't get that.
See?
I don't what I don't attract. Just like you're saying, I don't get that. So, and I guess I'm prepared now. If I did, it's no problem, because either I'm just not going to pay attention to it, because again, what is that? Who, I don't know who said it. If it was, ugh, we follow so many inspirational people, right? I can't think. That's because of menopause. Who said it? But only take advice from those who truly deserve to give out that advice, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's when we, as leaders, then have our own epiphany of, if anyone's saying anything, is it a credible source, number one, or is it not? And if it is, okay, maybe it's okay to go, sit with that. What do they mean by that? Are their intentions pure, or are they not? Because as we know, you could be in leadership, but that doesn't mean that you're a good human being. So there's a lot to be said about that.
I know about that last part because that title doesn't mean anything to me. I do, of course, honor your accomplishment, I guess, for getting, for maybe perseverance to get that title, maybe right. That's not always the case either. But that title, ooh, and that was one of the things. Even when I climbed that corporate ladder so quickly, and 13 years, had 10 roles, just boom, 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 boom. And I said, I will never be defined by this ever,
It's
ever.
incredible to have that wisdom when you're in that construct, because so many
Mhm.
people, like I found, because of the work that I do, are caught in that, ooh, can't say that because then I'll be overstepping my role, or oop, can't shine because I can't outshine my boss, or oop, can't say that, can't be my idea, has to come from this person or that person. And that's one of the things that, like, I love helping people with, truly finding what's their truth, what is important to them. If they have a product, service, message, it doesn't much matter. Or they're brilliant at coming up with ideas. If you are, find a company that allows for that, instead of staying trapped, in not being able to use your God-given voice that's
Mm-hmm.
there for.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Another thing that I was kind of looked at and researching your information. You talked about mediocrity. You said that in your upbringing, this is good, that mediocrity was normalized. Like that was the thing. What does it take to unlearn generational mediocrity? You know what I mean? With legacy in mind. Because Miss Renee, that's
that's
a
true.
real thing because some people never even get the opportunity to imagine life beyond mediocrity. Does that make sense?
That's, yeah.
Talk about it. What does it take to unlearn that generational mediocrity?
You know, to unlearn it, it really takes some true true soul searching, to always ask yourself that question. Am I happy? No, we're not happy all day every day in our careers or even as entrepreneurs. It's a hard road. But are we genuinely doing what gives us joy? And if the answer to that is yes, okay, keep going, like keep growing. But to unlearn that, you have to be at the point where you are so tired of being so tired. At least that was my experience. I had to continuously go through mediocre experiences to the point where I then showed my leadership and was rejected numerous times, where that rejection is what fueled me to becoming more than mediocre. So again, it needs to be, you need to get exhausted. I hate to say it, but that's how I feel about it. You can only have your own moment of reflection. You can have coaches, you can have leaders, you can have anyone telling you, don't be mediocre, but you have to be at your own breaking point, or else you're not going to move. Should you have mentors? Should you have people that you look to that are giving you the right messages? Absolutely, whatever it takes to get you out of that mediocrity. But to break it, you need to seriously trust, wow, this is not the way I want to live my life. And to start to have dreams and goals. I think you need to have both. Whereas most people don't even know how to dream. They don't even know how to set a goal. So I hope that answers the question. It's a great
Oh,
question.
it answers it perfectly. And it's something about getting tired. And I talk about this often. They was like, because believe it or not, Miss Renee, I was a back of the room kind of girl, barely said a word. I just put my head down and do the work. That's all I knew how to do. That's what I was taught to do. Just get the job done. So what
Wow.
happened to me just getting the job done, Miss Renee, my voice was lost in the process. I got all the crap projects. I would never speak up about it. I just knew how to get the thing done.
I'm
That's
sure
all I
it
knew how
was.
to do. Right? That's all I knew how to do. So that to me about getting tired, let me tell you something. That last time my back was pressed up against the wall, Miss Renee, that was the soul cry right there. I had to get all the way tired. I said, it's not
Yes.
the kind of tired where I'm like, oh, I'm a little fatigued. My soul tired now. So
Yeah.
now I have to do something different.
I relate to that a lot in my some of my jobs where I was stepping up naturally because that's who I was. I wasn't
Hmm.
recognized at that. That's who I
Hmm.
was. Anytime I would make a contribution, it was seen like I was seen as a threat to the trainer. Oh, she wants your job. Or I would be ridiculed if I was voluntold to do something because they
Yeah.
knew that it was my gift. Then people would ridicule me, and find things to give back to the trainer. Oh, she said this when she should, like really petty stuff, because people were on the lookout to protect him, which is it's such a weird culture. It doesn't matter if it's nonprofit or profit. Then I would have my cheerleaders going, she did a phenomenal job. Why can't you see that? And then they would confront the people. And it was just a really bizarre experience for me that there were so many places that were not equipped to train the leaders that you already had. And that's what got me tired. I'm like, if you're going to keep rejecting me and I'm here of contribution, it is my time to go. It is my time to go. And I've had some, not volatile, but I've had some not so nice situations because of that
I have
perceived
to.
threat. I don't want
Mhm.
your job. I just want to be of service. Allow me to be. If not, if you can't create a position for me, then at least show like, yeah, I would love for you to be on in this role or do that, whatever it is, whatever it is. So that was what pissed me off enough to get out of mediocrity.
And what a good community does is impose great ideas, is get buy-in from their community, right? And a lot of corporate structures remove community from the structure, right? And who I am
Yes.
naturally, Miss Renee, is community. So everything that was going on was just going against who I am. I really innately, that's who I am. I'm a community builder. All I want to do is build community, right? So when it started to go against so strongly on who I innately was and is and is gonna be,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. That's when you
So
know that tired thing, and you have to shift for sure. And
for
even if go ahead.
yeah, no, I was going to ask you for you. So was it like for me, it's kind of like it was a deja vu moment. Like, wait a minute, did that happen? Did I just go through that again? Like it's the signs were
Yeah,
coming at like you're
yeah.
going to deal with this again. You're going to accept this again. Like, what are you doing? And it's like that when you pause a show, and it's still. That's what would happen to me. I would be like stuck. Like, wait a minute. Why am I not moving forward? What is it that I'm so scared of? And I had many of those moments where I had to stop dead in my tracks and have what's the word I'm looking for? Have that moment. Have that moment of I need to move. I need to do something different. I can't keep on, being on the same path. It's not working.
You know what? I absolutely love it. And let me tell you something, Miss Renee. I just think I'm so thankful that that didn't ruin your spirit. You know what I mean? It didn't take it away because I feel, you know,
Me too.
you know what and I'm telling you this because I have to. This podcast is intentional. I don't know what's going to come out. I prepare questions, but sometimes I don't even go that way. It doesn't. But I have to tell you, I'm just so thankful that that did not take your spirit.
Thank
Because it is because what's shining through now is, it's welcoming, it's gratitude, it's clarity. That's what I see. So for that not to, I mean, of course, there may be been some tarnishing maybe in the process, but it didn't take it all. And that's what makes this part of the journey so sweet because I
it
get to
does,
see
does
it. It does because I get
thank
to see that. I get to see that in my guests and experience it. But one thing Miss Renee told me, and the thing she said at 50, it was a moment of clarity for you. 50 was that big moment of clarity. What do you understand now about failure, rejection, and being thrown against the wall? Tell me that from your seat
bring
at
it on,
50.
bring it on, bring it on. That's what I wish, only wish some, at some point in my educational journey, that message was imprinted, that just like any writer, you need to, they don't just write the book, they write 30 drafts and then it gets rejected by 30 different publishers. Like, just get that the mountain, we're all searching to get to this mountain, but we have to come down from the mountain. We don't stay up there ever. And I only wish that somebody taught me that to get there you have to take steps, and be open to who you're becoming, even if the results are not, it's not about the results, you know it's not about just getting to the top. It's who are you becoming as you get, more clarity around what it is that you want and what you want your message to be and what impact you want to have. And I think that's why that man stuck with me. His words stuck with me, and that's why I was too afraid to start. I didn't know how do I start this thing, who do I lean into? And this was before the internet, to be honest with you. And I didn't have any role models in my family to say, oh, you need to start by going to this organization or consult with this company, they help small business. Like, I didn't know anything. So I was left with, someday I'll do it. And that's how
Mm, that
it went.
that's good, Miss Renee. That's really, really good. And it kind of makes me think about like clarity and authenticity in communication. When I left corporate, I said I don't talk in circles anymore. I literally wrote it on. I wrote on the board, Miss Renee. I said I don't do that anymore. So anything that puts me toward that, I'm denying immediately. Tell me about
I love that.
clarity. Yeah. Tell me about clarity in communication and also to how that can lead to influence and leadership. Because
Oh,
for
yes.
me, this
Yeah.
particular seat, Miss Renee, me just doing it naturally, it didn't caught more it's like honey, right? I didn't caught more bees with because it's just
Say
like sweet honey. It's like
that.
sweet honey. And it's a metaphor, but it's really truly how I define. I mean, any interaction, whether I'm in a grocery store or the doctor's office or wherever. Just today, Miss Renee, a guy came and painted my address on the concrete, right? And I took a picture. I'm going to post it after this. Just came to paint it. It seemed like what should have just been an everyday transaction. He comes to paint it. I pay him his money. He leaves. A lot of my neighbors and stuff, we're just refining our neighborhood a little bit. It's the summer / spring. So we're, getting our lawns together. We're painting our signs. We're just, showing our home some love. So it just really seemed like that should have been a
Yeah.
transactional thing. How you go? So he came out and to the door and he knocked and said, come and see my work so I could pay for his services. Talked to him a little bit and out of nowhere, he turned around and he told me, I got to give you a message. He said, I know that this seems very, very strange. He said, but whatever you're doing, I don't care how many problems you have. He said, do not stop. That man doesn't know me from Adam. He does not know me. And he don't know me. I never seen him a day before in my life until today. Matter of fact, a couple of hours ago. And um I'm
Wow.
never this is the guy, it's the construction guy that came to paint. I took a picture with him because I told him that he put something in my spirit. And it's what I tell you, when you're open
That's,
to the call of what's supposed to
yeah,
happen,
yeah, yeah,
that the things just happen. So tell me about that, to go back to
yeah,
give you the opportunity to answer this question,
yeah,
that clarity and
yeah.
communication that leads to influence. Talk about it.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing that most people don't know. They're think they're looking for clarity here. They're looking for clarity from their head. This is called our default voice. And this is why most of the time when you're with people, even in like networking situations, most people are so uncomfortable with being seen because they're thinking about what's the script? What do I have to say? I sound to sound professional and rehearsed. And this is part of the problem. This is called our default voice. This is the voice that we speak with. The voice we think is the voice we speak with. So to get clarity in communication, you know what? We have to start stepping into the world of emotions, the world of feeling something. Feel something. When you start tapping into emotions when it comes to communication, that's where the clarity comes from, because you're not pulling from that default voice. You're talking about how it moves you, how it affects you, how you relate to something, how it makes you feel. And that's why a big part of my practice, people don't expect this. It's stepping into the world of emotions, just like we did when we were little bitty in preschool or kindergarten in circle time, when the teacher said, "Okay, boys and girls, it's time for story time." Do we remember how hooked in we were as the teacher turned the page, because the way she spoke or he spoke took her time or his time with each word and used inflection to like make the story even richer by saying something with power or with a pause? We stop doing that. People stop doing that. And so that's one of the things that I really believe in. To gain clarity, you have to start stepping into emotion, how you feel, because that allows you to build your own self trust. And once you can get on the path of building self trust and stepping into feeling, then you're starting to speak authentically. Then your message starts to come out with more flow and with more ease, because you are becoming your message. You're not talking about your message. Does that make sense?
Girl, you know you don't have to ask me if it makes sense. It makes plenty of sense.
That's my coach question. Does that make sense? Am I on? Are you?
It,
What
it
are you
makes
hearing?
all the sense. It makes all the sense. And that's why I make sure I'm careful in crafting these questions, because I understand that you're going to bring the message that I know that people need to hear. Could have asked you anything in the world, right? But I made sure I
Go for it.
asked you that because I
Yes.
knew that you could give
Yes.
the answer.
And that's the thing that I find astounding, and which is why I love helping people who are already in leadership,
Hmm.
because the ones that have to speak so much so frequently that they're
Yeah.
sending off this vibe of, oh, I can't stand doing this, but I got to do it again. And sometimes they're not getting the results they want with that audience. It could be their employees, it could be certain teams that are not driving together, it could be with certain clients. If they're telling the same story over and over and over and they're brilliant at it, they're totally disconnecting from the whole essence of why they're there to impact that audience. It isn't always about the sale. We know it's about the connection, it's about the relationship. It's how am I going to show up in front of this audience? And that's what either leads us down the road of being
Hmm.
authentic or inauthentic. And so
Correct.
that's the big surprise that people get when they work with me. Yeah, I would
Now, I want
say.
to make sure that we have a clean segment, Miss Renee, to give our listeners your contact information. Give us a one or two liner that summarizes your services. I know it may be a little tight, but just give us a one or two liner, and then give us the connection points, whether that's email, website, socials, whatever you want to provide for connection. I want to have a clean segment where we
Oh,
do that. So
awesome.
we can do that.
That's my light turned out for just a second. So this is called being perfectly imperfect, right? That's what I do. I help people deal with being perfectly imperfect. So my tagline is, I help I help executives, rising leaders, and professionals in youth learn how to stop presenting and start connecting so that you can increase your influence. That's my tagline. And how you can find me. My website is almost being birthed, ReneeHopeCooper.com. Needs a little more bells and whistles. It's going to be launched very soon. But there you can go and learn all about my speaking services and about me and my story and how to contact me. And how to contact me? A couple ways, either on LinkedIn, Renee Hope Cooper. I'm on all social media, predominantly Instagram, Renee Hope Cooper. Facebook, I'll keep doing it, Renee Hope Cooper. And my email address is info@stepintoyourvoice.com.
Miss Renee, I love it. I know that we are tight on time, but I have to do rapid fire with you. This is just 10 questions. The first thing that comes to your mind, you just say it. It's just 10 of them, and I just want to get your fresh thoughts on these questions. This is what we do. You got to keep this going. And you got to keep it going for your little bit, okay? Number one word to describe your journey so far. One word to describe your journey so far.
Courage.
A quote you live by, maybe one of your favorites.
I don't know what I don't know. I don't know.
That's a good one.
Don't know. Mm-hmm.
That's one of mine too. I actually have that one, I think, on my quote board. This is a broad one, but the best advice you've ever received.
Oh my gosh, there's too many things. The best advice that I ever received was, it's okay to brag on yourself.
Brag, the art of bragging. It's the whole book about it, and it's one of my favorites. Actually, it's somewhere on one of these shelves. But the art of bragging it's a real thing. A fear you had to overcome to grow.
The fear of how to even get started, and the fear of failure.
Your personal anthem or song.
I guess that's a good one. My client just texted me. I will survive. Yes, I will survive.
A dream collaboration.
Oh my God, a dream to be on The View.
View.
to be on stage with any of my men, any of the people I love, Les Brown or oh my gosh, Brene Brown or anyone that's yeah, for sure.
A book that changed your life.
A book that changed my life.
Mm-hmm. Or just a favorite.
Stephen Covey's 7 Habits to Win Friends.
I've read that one. Actually, it works at different stages of your life. I need to probably read it again at this stage because you internalize it differently. It gets different. One thing that people may misunderstand about you.
That my and I think this is something about being women, that my directness does not equal aggressiveness. My directness equals self-trust.
That's good. The first step to finding your voice is, you finish it.
Tap into what you love. Tap into what makes you light up. Tap into what gives you energy. Tap into the things that energize and that you care about.
Last one. Right there. Legacy in one sentence.
This is a big one because I just wrote about this in a journal. I'm not going to cry. Because I'm going on with as soon as I hang on with you.
We're gonna keep it, just keep it light.
My legacy is to give voices to as many people as possible so they can stand in their truth, shine, and be of impact to others. That's my legacy, including my own girls.
Let me tell you something, Miss Renee. Beautiful segment. Thank you for being here. I know that you have other obligations. I would have probably kept you here a little longer, but let me tell you something. I honor you in this space, and I'm so happy that you came to spend time with me. You guys know that I love this space. You should be able to tell. And really, I'll be back with another amazing woman in the Her Voice Shines podcast land in no time. But until then, like the old church folks say, I love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. And we'll be back next time. I love you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.